5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to another video, everyone. So if you're preparing for emergencies, you probably have a bunch of little one-off items that are very handy in their own right. They all have a specific purpose, such as an AM/FM radio, maybe you have a shortwave as well, a little power bank to charge or recharge devices such as cell phones, a weather radio to let you know what's going on with the weather in your area if you're in tornado country or hurricane country, flashlights, self-explanatory, right, for lights. So do you really need all these one-off items? Ooh, that hurt. Maybe, maybe not. Now you may or may not need all those individual items, depending on if you can find something like this that actually is good quality, works, and is reliable. So today we're going to test this out. And what this is, it's a product by Snail. I mean, how can you go wrong with a name like that, right? And what it is, it's an AM/FM weather radio with a 3-beam flashlight, power bank built in. It allows you to do all of those things that I just mentioned. And this unit supposedly recharges in any one of 3 different ways. So you don't need AC grid power. The problem is a lot of these are very cheaply made, don't actually work as advertised. So we're going to go out to the bench and put this thing to the test. If you like this video, please like it. If you like my content overall, please subscribe. And most importantly, as always, if somebody you know and or love could use the information provided in this video, please share it with them. Now let's get techie. Okay, let's open this thing up and see what we got. Okay, we have the actual unit itself. Seems to be unmarked, got a little protector on the solar panel. Doesn't appear to be used. Protective film over the flashlight lens. Comes with a little USB-A to what appears to be a micro USB connector. That's for charging. Comes with a little adapter. This is a micro USB to a lightning. So that would be to charge your iPhone from the unit. You would plug this in, plug the micro USB into here, and then plug this into your iPhone. We get a user manual, and the last thing we got was a thank you. Hope you enjoy it. Oh, that's sweet. It's got a 30-day money-back guarantee, 18-month replacement warranty, and lifetime support guarantee. Then it's got all the contact information here. So that's a pretty nice touch. If they back it up, a lot of these manufacturers put this in the package and don't necessarily stand by it, so we'll have to see. Oh, this is nice. Comes with a little carabiner on it to clip it onto something, maybe a backpack or your belt. Okay, first things first, let's talk build quality. Now this is IPX3 rated, which means that it can withstand water hitting it at up to a 60-degree angle from vertical. So if you leave it out in the rain, any rain hitting it or water hitting it or splashing from a hose or anything should be fine. The knobs seem relatively robust. They don't seem too bad. The switches are nice. The click switches, push switches are nice. You know, everything seems to be a decent build quality for, you know, the $30 range. So I'm actually quite surprised that it's this nice for that price. Okay, so now let's talk power. The heart of this unit is 2 18650 lithium cells. Notice the battery cover has a warning, says warning, do not open the battery cover, but we don't listen. So this is 2 2000 milliamp hour cells. So that's 4,000 milliamp hours altogether, which is a lot of power for a little AM/FM radio like this, even with the LED flashlights. So we should get a lot of runtime out of this unit. You know my stance on batteries. I don't like anything with a built-in battery pack. I prefer to have the option to replace them when they go bad. And these 18650 batteries are pretty easy to get. You can get them through Amazon. You can get them through you know, your local battery stores. Now, just as a notice, you're not going to be able to access these unless you have a small Allen wrench. It's not a Phillips head or a common screwdriver. So keep that in mind. If you ever have to access it, you need a very small Allen wrench. Now, I mentioned in the intro that there are several ways to charge it. We're going to go ahead and charge it up first with the AC power from the house. And you can see this has got this nice little, water resistant cover. Pull that up. There's a micro USB slot. That's your input. So we're going to hook that up. And hopefully you can see on the front here, this is your power indicator. It shows you your power level. There's 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100% LEDs. At this time, you can see the 25, 50, and 75 are lit solid, and the 100% is flashing. That means that the battery state is charged up to 75 to 100%, somewhere within that range. So keep that in mind when you're charging or you're dissipating the battery, you're using the unit. If you keep an eye on that, it'll tell you your current level of charge. Now, after we charge this up via AC and we actually run it down the first time, we're going to check out the solar charging capabilities and the crank power charging capabilities. Now, those methods are notoriously slow. Now, what I've seen from charging this via AC is it takes about 4 hours to charge it using the type of charger that I'm using. Your time may vary depending on the wall wart that you use, how much power you have going into it. I'm using a regular cell phone charger. Like I said, it's going to take me about 4 hours. But now that we have it somewhat charged up, about 75%, let's go ahead and check out the features of this unit. Okay, so the first thing we're going to try is the radio. I'm going to fully extend the antenna. I'm actually out in my garage in my workshop right now. We will try our weather band first. Switch to WB, which is the weather band. Use the on dial. And then the tuning.
West to the east-southeast of Bermuda, on Tropical Storm Gert, located about 700 miles east-southeast of
So that works well.
Environmental.
Let's try our FM. Let me turn the volume down. So now that we're trying FM, this is an analog tuner, so it's kind of touchy when you're trying to dial in a station. I'm going to stop talking and actually dial in a few stations so you can hear the quality. Like I said, the sound is quite rich. I'm kind of surprised at that for such a small unit, but let's go ahead and tune in a station or two.
Office, Montesano's port is located.
So as you can see, the FM sensitivity is up there, man. It's hard to dial it in using the analog dial. But when you do lock into a station, it sounds really nice. Let's try AM. Okay, so the AM band is a little disappointing, which I kind of expected out of this. These little radios aren't necessarily known for their great AM tuning, but if you have strong stations near you, it will pick them up. So let's move on from the radios to the lights. Okay, so the running Snail has a couple different lighting options on it, which is actually pretty cool, I think. Not high-end flashlights by any means, but not bad for a multi-tool like this. So it's got the push button on top. You have your first one is your high beam, and that's essentially what it is, a high beam, so it's made for distance. The second time you click goes to a low beam, and that down tilts the light a little bit, so it's more for close-up. And then you have both of them. It's pretty bright. I would not look directly into it. That's how bright it is. The next option that we have is the SOS function. Now that will turn the flashing lights on and sound an alarm. And this is the button right here. What you do is you press and hold this for 3 seconds. Okay, not great, not bad. I would say it's effective enough around your house or something like that. It may scare off somebody if you hit it as a panic button in your house or something. So now let's go to the reading light / motion detector light. And how you access that is on the back, you have light and auto switch. And that corresponds with the light that's located underneath the solar panel. So if you flip it up and you have it on light, it automatically turns the light on. And that's pretty bright as well. It's got 6 LEDs in there, like I said, I wouldn't look directly into that either. It'll burn some green marks into your eyes for sure. That's that. It goes full function. It goes all the way up to 90 degrees from its nested position. Now, if you turn it on auto, it's a motion detector. So let's go ahead and sit still for a minute. And then wave, it comes on. See, that's kind of a cool feature. I don't know how often it would get used, but it's pretty cool nonetheless. So now for the power bank function. Now the user manual, I read it, and it implicitly states, this feature is suggested to use in emergency. Do not use it as a normal power bank. So you don't want to use this all the time to recharge phones and stuff like that. It's an emergency use only power bank. Just to be clear, because I actually say it right in the manual, so you don't want to go against that. So I have my phone here. Let's go ahead, hook it up, and see if it in fact does charge, and if so, how much it pulls. So as you can see, it is charging the phone. I got my little lightning bolt on my battery. That's my trip to Japan. It was a great time. I highly recommend going there if you get the chance. But you can see we are pulling 5 volts at approximately an average of 1 amp. So it is a low power charger, but it works nonetheless. If you need to use it in an emergency to recharge your phone to make an emergency phone call or call a loved one or something, it'll definitely work for that. Okay, so we have reached 100% charge on our batteries. So what we're going to do now is simulate using this in an emergency, see how much usage we get out of it, what length of time we can use it for. And I figured the most likely scenario would be to have the reading lamp on continuously. Say we're like using this overnight, maybe during a power outage, to listen to the radio. So you'd have situational awareness, know what was going on, and also have the light on. Now the manual does state that there is a battery protection circuit within this, and it will cut the equipment off at 2.7 volts to protect the battery. So we're going to go ahead and just let it run till it dies, and then hopefully we'll be able to bring it back to life and charge it up via the other methods. The time right now is 4:47 Saturday afternoon, so about 4:45. I'm going to take this off and leave it out here. Keep tabs on it. I'm going to turn the volume up and go, and I'll be back when it's finished. Okay, so I let the radio and the reading light run last night. I had to tap out at 11:45. That was the 7-hour point. And then I let it run again first thing when I woke up this morning, and went an additional hour and a half. So you get 8.5 hours real world scenario where overnight you'd be using this to offer yourself some light and some radio for some entertainment or some information. So pretty good for both of those running at the same time. So I mentioned prior to the test that the unit has a built-in battery protection circuit that stops all functions at 2.7 volts to protect the batteries. And sure enough, I pulled it apart and 2.706 volts. So it did stop the batteries right where it was supposed to. So our next step is to put this back together, and then I'm going to use the dynamo or the hand crank to crank for 1 minute at approximately 120 RPM. And that is supposed to give us 6 minutes of radio time, or high beam flashlight illumination for 30 minutes. So I'm going to do the 6 minutes radio for the sake of time. Let's put this back together and get it started. Getting 120 RPM for a minute's hard work. Okay, 1 minute. Let's turn the radio on and see if we get 6 minutes of playtime out of it. Okay, so you saw the video. We came up a little bit short on the dynamo test. It doesn't put out quite as much power as advertised, but some of that could have been attributed to me and my lack of coordination to crank it. It's kind of hard to get into a rhythm for a long period of time on that. But as you can see, it does produce a little bit of power to use the radio, use the flashlight, or maybe even if you did a little bit longer, put a little juice into your cell phone so you can make an emergency phone call. Now, let's get on to the solar charging test. Okay, everyone, so it's approximately 9:30 in the morning. What I've done is I brought the unit outside and I've angled the solar panel up so it gets the best angle of incidence for the sunlight. And hopefully you can see the battery charging. LED is lit red. So I'm going to leave this out here for a little while. Now, if anybody hasn't seen my videos in the past, I'm a firm believer in protecting your equipment from the sun. Anything attached to a solar panel, you want to keep out of the direct sunlight and just allow the solar panel to be in the sun. So what I've done is I made a little template here out of cardboard. I'm going to put that on. There we go. And protect most of the unit from the direct sunlight to keep the temperature down. That's better for the health of the battery and the electronics inside the unit. So we're just going to leave that up here. And my goal is to find out how long it takes to get to 25% charge. Okay, so it's been 3 hours approximately. I came out and I changed the angle of the solar panel as the sun came over. And I've been checking it out. Now, it will charge just in ambient sunlight, but obviously you're not going to get the same amount of amperage flowing through it to charge the battery as you would in full sunlight. So let's go ahead and turn it on. So as you can see, the 25% LED is solidly lit. I hope it's showing up on the camera. That means the charge status of the batteries are between 25 and 50% capacity, and it took 3 hours. So I'm not sure of the charging circuit within this unit, if it's linear or not. Anyways, so with 3 hours, you get 25%. So it's feasible to squeeze a little bit of power out of the solar unit, although it's not as efficient as the AC method. So final thoughts on the running Snail unit. Look, you can buy all these items here. You know, an AM/FM radio, a weather radio, a power bank for recharging phones, etc., a lamp, a flashlight. You can buy all these, and honestly, they're more capable and you get more features with them. But if you're looking to be economical, you can't afford to buy all these items, or you're not going to use them very often, and you just want something you can tuck away and have for use in an emergency that's not going to break the bank, this is actually a pretty good way to go. The build quality is pretty solid. The only thing maybe a little chintzy on them are the potentiometers here, the dials. They're a hard plastic and they're not really smooth to operate, but everything else is okay. It does recharge via the solar panel and the dynamo or the hand crank. You know, obviously they're not as efficient as plugging it into the wall, but in a pinch, they work just fine. Now, like I said, if money is an issue or you don't want to buy all these things and have them sitting around taking up a lot of space, for 30 bucks, you really can't beat it. Now, I could see uses for this, such as students going away to school for the first time. Parents are a little worried about them, want them to know what's going on and have a little bit of power in case they need to make a phone call or something. This is a good item for that. I am personally going to put this in my office so I have it available to me if something happens when I'm away from home. So yeah, all in all, pretty solid unit. For $30, I'm very happy with the performance of it. And I will put a link to this in the video description below, as well as some of my favorite items in case any of these caught your eye and you want to go with the individual units. I'll put the links to those below as well. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.